Hello and welcome to another episode of All Things Aussie Footy, covering everything from the AFL to the AFLW and everything in between. My name is Ashley, and in today's episode we will be looking at Round 3 of the 2022 Toyota AFL Premiership season, as well as an in-depth look into the AFLW preliminary finals that are to be played this week, with a spot up for grabs next week in the big decider. Anything's going to happen. You've got 4 teams left, 2 teams make a grand final. But we'll look at that further later in the video, and we'll go into in-depth about that. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, make sure you put the bell on to get notified of when we upload. We upload every Tuesday and Thursdays, if we try to. If not, it's 2 uploads a week anyway. Leave a comment, leave a like as well, let me know what you guys like and what you don't like about the videos, and I'll try and change it all up to interest you all. My aim here is to make it all happen for you and make you guys happy. So, getting started into the round 3 fixtures. So this weekend's fixtures, starting Thursday night, we have the Might of the Western Bulldogs, last year's grand finalists. Unfortunately, they've been underperforming this year. They go up against the likes of the Sydney Swans, coming off a magnificent game against Geelong, Buddy Franklin's 1000th goal again. I know I mentioned it in the last video, but how can you not mention it again this week? It's just big news. They go on at Marvel Stadium. Magnificent venue, new screens up there, can't fault it. Sydney are looking good this year, Bulldogs not so much. Bulldogs wanting to chase down their first win of the year, but anything's possible. A strong Sydney outfit, it's going to be tough for them. I'm potentially just going to have to go to the Sydney Swans. They're just going to look too strong for me. But I am looking forward to a lot of the midfield matchups, and especially down forward for Sydney with Buddy Franklin down there. I hope he can star again this week, like he did last week. He had a quiet game round 1. Pick it up this week, and I'll be happy with that. Midfield in terms of it, you get Marcus Bontempelli, Liberatore, a few big names in there. Hopefully there's a couple of returning players back in, but we're unsure at this stage. We'll just have to wait and see. But my tip, I'm going to have to go with the Swans to beat the Dogs at Marvel Stadium. Unfortunately, I can't see the Dogs winning a game anytime soon, but I hope they do. I want to see them up there again, making last year's grand final. I want to see them push for that final spot again come September. Now, this week features a crossover game on Friday night. Melbourne and Essendon at the MCG will start up before the Showdown 51 between Adelaide and Port Adelaide at the Adelaide Oval. So they will start, I think it's about 40 minutes before the Showdown 51 game. I'm not a fan of the idea of having crossover games on a Friday night. I can understand Saturday, Sunday, not so much Friday nights. But it's the way it's scheduled due to the fact you got the AFLW preliminary finals, but I don't see why they couldn't just add a 4th game to Sunday anyway. So starting off with Melbourne and Essendon, there's not much to say about it anyway. It's at the MCG. Melbourne are going to prove too strong yet again. They're going to show us all why they are the reigning premiers. They're going to show all the haters why they deserve to win another flag. I'm not a hater, I'm not a lover for Melbourne. Won the grand final last year, got on them, broke a drought. Neil Danaher, obviously beloved Demons. So glad he was still here to see him win a flag. But I just feel like Melbourne are going to prove to everyone why they are considered favourites this year to go back-to-back again in the premiership race. Essendon's just been big time underperforming. I can't think of anything really to say about it. I'm going to end up probably having to go Melbourne by about 40 odd points there. I can't elaborate onto it. It's, yeah, Melbourne all the way there, especially at the G. Game that happens as the Melbourne-Essendon game is also going on is obviously Showdown 51, the biggest game on the calendar for all South Australian fans. I understand that because our version of the Showdown is the Western Derby, and that's played between Fremantle and West Coast. But Showdown 51, Adelaide Oval, Adelaide's home game against Port Adelaide. I reckon we might be in for a cracking game. Port Adelaide making finals last year. Adelaide been on the down since the 2017 grand final appearance against Richmond. I'm going to have to lean more towards probably Port Adelaide, but only just. Port, to me, I feel like they've got a lot of experience in there. Adelaide's missing Taylor Walker down the forward line, the leading goal kicker from a few years ago. But it's just going to be too tough for Adelaide, I feel. They're going to need someone to step up in a big way. Port Adelaide have got a lot of big players, Palpepper, Wines, Lysette, big names in there. Put on a show. I can see them coming away with a W there and start climbing that ladder and push for finals, even though we're still a while away. Saturday night Saturday we've got a double header with the AFLW preliminary finals, but I'll explain more about that as the show goes on. So the first game for the AFL will be after the preliminary finals, and that is the GWS Giants, Greater Western Sydney, versus Gold Coast. Giants home game at Giants Stadium. Gold Coast have been performing well this year. They are in the 8, but only just. They're looking good this year, but I don't think they can hold up. I think their win in round 1 was a bit of a fluke, but we have to wait and see with that one. GWS, on the other hand, topsy-turvy for me. It's a hard pick, this one, but I like both teams. They've both got a lot of potential going into this season, but I'm probably going to have to go to the Giants over the Suns. Giants are just showing us each and every year as to why you never deny them. They always come back fighting after a loss. They come back hard to beat. Gold Coast, I haven't seen much. It's either we lose, we're just going to stay on that track, we win, we're going to lose anyway. No disrespect to any Suns fans out there, but I've got the Giants by about 20 in this one. Following that game, big game at the MCG, Geelong and Collingwood. I'm expecting something really close here. Collingwood's got a lot of experience in their team, not as much as what Geelong have got. Geelong have got a lot of experienced players in Paddy Dangerfield. They've got Cam Guthrie, Zach Tui, you name it, they've got it all. Selwood's a big name in there. Hopefully, I'd go for Geelong. I'm hoping they can get it done. I wouldn't mind seeing Geelong win another premiership. It's been a while. But I feel like Collingwood's going to be a big test for them to start off in the year. I know it's only round 3. It's going to be a big test, especially at the G. It's away from home. But I've got Geelong, but only just. Not much I can say about that. I hope the fans turn up for that game, being such a big game. The MCG haven't really had many fans go through the gates. The games, the grand final rematch in round 1, they didn't have many fans go through. The traditional season opener with Carlton and Richmond, again, not enough fans going through. I feel like they can do more. I feel like a lot more fans should be going through those gates. So we just got to wait and see with that one. Brisbane, North Melbourne, sorry, I should say, not Melbourne. Brisbane, North Melbourne up at the Gabba. Easy pick. Brisbane by 50. North Melbourne I feel like North Melbourne going through a rebuilding stage. Yes, they picked Jason Horne-Francis with number 1 pick. Yes, he's been playing well, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for him. But you look at Brisbane and the might they've got in terms of Daniel Rich, Mitch Robinson, Charlie Cameron, Joe Danaher. Too strong. Brisbane's just going to be way too strong at home, up at the Gabba, in front of the Brisbane faithful. Brisbane to slaughter. I can't really see North Melbourne even making finals this year. I reckon they're going to finish lower end of the ladder. But like I said, early stages. Sunday we kick off with an absolute classic. Two teams that are 2-0 at the MCG, Carlton Hawthorn. This game I feel like is going to draw a crowd. The game you want for a crowd is definitely Carlton and Hawthorn. Two teams undefeated, two teams pushing to get back into finals that I'd personally like to see go into finals. Going to be a very tight game, going to be a very close game. Ultimately, I wouldn't mind seeing Hawthorn go 3-0, but I want to see Carlton go 3-0. I don't want a draw. I want a game where I'm sitting on the edge of my seat, and I reckon these guys can deliver. Definitely a game to watch. Harry McKay, I'm hoping, can go off in a big way. It's hard to pick that one, but I'm probably going to have to lean towards Hawthorn. Hawthorn have shown a lot of improvement since Sam Mitchell was announced as their coach, going 2-0 to start the season, coming up against Carlton. Yes, big test for them, but ultimately I feel like Hawthorn are just going to be strong enough at the G to hold on and win that game. Now, this match to me is a big one for us and the Saints. I think a lot of the Saints supporters will actually agree with me here. The Maddies match game against Richmond at Marvel Stadium, obviously in name of Matty Revolt, who is a big name with both football clubs, Jack and Nick Revolt. Ultimately, I'm hoping a close game as well. I'm hoping a good game. Richmond absolutely smashed us last year in the first meeting until we bounced back second meeting. But this one to me, I feel like our forwards need to step up a lot more in the likes of Max King, Dan Butler, Jack Higgins. I feel like needs to step up again and kind of show why the Saints called upon him and got him away from Richmond and brought him to the Saints. Richmond obviously without Dusty Martin. They don't have Jack Revolt, unfortunately, for Matty's match. So that's a big out for them. So they're going to need people to step in a big way, especially rookies, such as Matthew Parker, playing against his old team, Shai Bolton, Marlon Pickett, Tommy Lynch needs a bag a few, I reckon. So I think we might be in for a close game, but I'm going to have to go for a change against Richmond. I'm going to go the Saints in, I reckon, a close one. Saints in a close one, only because we're looking good this year. Don't know if we're finals contenders, don't know if we're looking at playing finals and knocking on the door for it, but we are looking good this year. I'm going to go the Saints by under 10. I'm hoping it's going to be a close game. I'd like to see a kick after the siren. Doubt that will happen. I'm hoping for a good game though. Now, as I was saying with the Showdown 51 game, our version here in WA is the Western Derby between West Coast and Freo, and amazingly that is this week as well. West Coast Fremantle, Optus Stadium, West Coast home game. Derby 54. 54 derbies between these two teams. 54 derbies of absolute chaos. Absolutely phenomenal, and I cannot wait for it. Fremantle coming off a loss to St Kilda last week at Optus Stadium. West Coast coming off a loss to North Melbourne at Marvel. Obviously West Coast had all of those changes. I think there was 14 in total from memory. They're bringing a lot of those guys back in. I think they announced there was 13 changes. 12 or 13 changes just for the West Coast lineup. Fremantle I think make 2 or 3 changes. So it's going to be good to see. I also like to see West Coast win a game, but Fremantle are looking the goods and they've got my pick for the Derby. But you just don't know, especially with big names coming in for West Coast. Nat Nui comes back in, Shuey comes back in. Unfortunately, Tim Kelly was named to come back in, but he got struck down with a hamstring injury from training, so he's again ruled out, unfortunately. So speedy recovery for Timmy, and hopefully we see him back out there shortly. Fremantle, on the other hand, are looking good. Shrong's out, unfortunately. He was spotted at training on crutches, so I'm hoping for a speedy recovery for him as well. But Fremantle's just going to prove too good. Freo's just going to be too strong on the day and beat West Coast, I reckon, 28, 29 points. It'll be topsy-turvy. I reckon it'll be fairly close up until about three-quarter time, but Fremantle's going to keep away in that last and just come from nowhere and win the match. So, they're my predictions. That's the that's how the fixture looks for round 3. Few good games in there to watch. You've got the Showdown 51, the Western Derby 54, you've got Maddie's match in there. Carlton Hawthorn obviously going to be a good game, and I can't wait for that round to start. But the AFLW preliminary finals as well on a Saturday, don't forget about that. Those 2 games will be played before the GWS Gold Coast game. So there's 5 massive games of football being played on a Saturday. Starting off with Melbourne and Brisbane at the MCG. First ever AFL women's game in a premiership season to be played at the G. I can't wait for it. It's going to be massive. I hope the fans turn out for it. But, as I said, spot up for grabs in the grand final. Brisbane made it last year, so obviously Melbourne's got a home ground advantage, but going up against the team that made it in grand final last year. Brisbane have had an up and down year, but I feel like they could probably push for another appearance in the grand final. Also being reigning premiers too. Melbourne's got a big hole there to climb through, get over it and beat them. But with the likes of Daisy Pearce, Karen Paxman, Libby Birch, I feel like Melbourne could. I can't wait for it. It's going to be a cracking game. So my tip for that one obviously is going to be Melbourne going through. They're going to knock off the reigning premiers, but I reckon it's going to be close. I can't see it being one of these big one-sided kind of 30-40 point games. I'm going Melbourne by about under 10. The other game that's being played that week, well, this week on Saturday, straight after Melbourne and Brisbane, Channel 7, is Adelaide and Fremantle, Adelaide Oval. Adelaide's played at the Adelaide Oval every year since it began. At least one game every year has been played at the Adelaide Oval for the Crows. Fremantle's never played there. They've always played at Norwood Oval, so I feel like it's just going to be too much for Fremantle to overcome the fact that playing on such a big ground, such a massive oval in front of all the crowd there. A lot more spectators than what you would get at Norwood Oval or wherever Adelaide end up playing around South Australia. I can't go past Adelaide. The likes of Aaron Phillips in there, even just Aaron Phillips, it just makes that team strong. But you also look at Fremantle, they've got Kiara Bowers, Ebony Antonio, Hayley Miller, Gemma Houghton down forward line can be very dangerous as well. They've got all of these big names in Fremantle, but Adelaide Oval, it's going to be too much pressure on them. They're going to crack. So ultimately, my tip for that game, going to have to go Adelaide. Can't go past them, unfortunately. I do like the Freo players. They're a great team, massive fan base. Obviously, I'm St Kilda in the AFLW as well, but ever since it started, I was always a fan of Fremantle until St Kilda came in. But I'm going to have to go against Freo and go Adelaide. But I reckon they're only going to take it by about 2 goals, 12 points. I reckon it's going to come down to that kind of the last 5 minutes of the game. But other than that, massive weekend of footy, 5 games on a Saturday, 3 on a Sunday, including a big one of Carlton and Hawthorn, starting on Thursday night with Bulldogs and Swans. Can't wait for it. I can't wait to bring you guys the recap later in the week, so stay tuned for that one. Again, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below, leave a like, also leave a comment, let me know what you guys think. Make sure that bell icon is turned on so you know when these videos come out, because they will be coming out every week throughout the whole AFL season and potentially into the AFLW season next year. But other than that, guys, for this episode, that wraps it up. I'll bring you guys a recap at the end of the week, so stay tuned for that. Thank you.